What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece Season 22, Episode 1. So in this episode, starts out with a flashback at the very end of Little Garden where so Usopp and Luffy say that they're looking forward to going to Elbaf. They're like a little singing, a little jingle, whatever. Then it shows like all the Straw Hat Pirates, giant pirates on, you know, the giant pirate ships. Basically, drinking. The alcohol is very strong. And eating a lot, basically celebrating. Them all heading towards Elbaf. And so yeah, so they drink. Then like later, like basically the Thousand Sunnies disappeared. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, and Chopper have disappeared. And so, yeah, so then basically in this, so like basically they've disappeared. And like, everyone's wondering where they're at, like like, so like, Frankie, Robin, Brooke, they're concerned where everyone's at. And see Nami wakes up. You have to hear Usopp's voice. Basically, I guess everyone who disappears like in new attire somehow. Let's not think about how. Anyway, so now while this is going, yes, you see stuff from other people's perspective reacting to what's going on. So now you have the Barto Club. So Barto Club arrives at an island under Shanks's control, or at least in his territory. Shanks, the red hair pirates aren't there. But so Bartolomeo and his crew try to sell like Luffy merch. They're basically rejected because like basically like you're in Shanks's territory. So then like Bartolomeo burns a flag like Shanks's flag and holds up Luffy's. And then basically you see like you know a little while later so the Barto Club was beaten very quickly. Like they didn't even show a fight. It was very obvious that they were getting beaten very quickly by the red hair pirates. Um, and one of Shanks's crewmen give Bartolomeo a damn poison. Tells him that the way to make up for it is to give Luffy this damn poison within a month. Now Bartolomeo has said, this is all him. He said he doesn't want Luffy to have to pay for any of this. That he flew the Straw Hat flag without Luffy's permission. He swore fealty under base because the entire fleet like swore fealty under Luffy without Luffy really consenting to it. Arrow was like, but like, Luffy was basically kind of like whatever. So Bartolomeo he decides to drink the poison himself, saying that if he dies, he won't let Luffy suffer it. Then they're just let go. Basically, Shanks is kind of happy that Luffy has some respect, and basically, I guess it turns out it was like kind of like a test. So Bartolomeo's not dead, at least then Yasop tells Shanks get out of the way. He says that the Barto Club still has to pay the price. So he has a gun. He shoots basically a cannonball at the Barto Club. Basically, the ship gets blown up and like sinks. And we don't know what's happened with the Barto Club. Like that's one of the three crews we don't know what happened to. Because you have, the Kid Pirates who Shanks basically one-shotted. Um, you have, the Barto Club that Yasop one-shotted. Which shows how powerful the red hair pirates are. Well, at least Shanks' crew, maybe not the rest of his fleet. Um, then you have, the Heart Pirates outside, Law and Beppo, where Beppo took Law away. The other members are like gone. And yeah, so like they're either captured, dead, we don't know. Like we literally don't know what happened to them. Like what like with the fight against Blackbeard, like whether or not they're dead or captured. Now, like Barto Club, I could see them being alive and just held prisoner by Shanks. Like and kid the kid pirates, I can see them being prisoners. I can also see them like being forced to become a subordinate fleet. It's honestly will make it really fun. It honestly the like kid being in a subordinate like crew. If Luffy gets control of Shanks' fleet, he basically gets control of the kid pirates, which will be so funny seeing Kid's reaction. Like that would be really funny if that but as far as we know, in the manga, not just the anime, but in the manga, the fate of the Barto Club, the Kid Pirates, and the Heart Pirates is unknown right now. We don't know. Like they're all MIA, possibly KIA. Now, and then you also have Blackbeard returns to Hachinosu. Learns about Kobe and Morio being freed. He's not happy about that. Now he is happy about having Garp prisoner, because that's a bigger bargaining chip than Kobe. Like, however big of a bargaining chip Kobe is, even though Kobe's power sword, um, Garp's a bigger deal. Like everyone knows it. I mean, Garp could almost be like thing is because Garp's guy he would have been fleet admiral if he wanted to. Like if he challenged Aikanu well Sakazuki for the title of fleet admiral, there's not really a darn thing Sakazuki could do about it. And I mean, everyone knows that if he that Garp would be fleet admiral if he wanted it. He probably could be commander. He could probably have Khan's job if he wanted to. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, so you know, Uzon claims that he that the crew tried to kill him. They thought they killed him, but it turned out to be alive. Now we don't know if Kuzan actually was trying to kill Garp, or if he was or if he was trying to keep him alive, because there's a lot about Kuzan's motives that we don't know. Like right now, like why is he willing to work with the Blackbeard pirates? Because I think Kuzan has his own plans. Like, 'cause like even though he's like one of the captains, I don't think he's actually loyal to Blackbeard. Like the other ones are now Blackbeard's happy about all of his fleet being basically like there's some high morale going on after Vegapunk's message. Basically, a lot of the pirates are reinvigorated. So like basically on the final hunt for the One Piece going, and one of Blackbeard's subordinates is observing the events at Marijoa, where like the Celestial Dragons are being starved to death. Like basically, because the Revolution Army is just destroying their food supplies, and Blackbeard tells the guy to basically, I guess, prepare for what's next. You know, for whatever all Blackbeard has planned, which manga readers will know that Blackbeard probably wants to attack Mary Jo at some point. Now, whether or not he's doing that right now in the manga, we don't know. Because there's probably a lot of stuff going there's a lot of stuff going on in the manga right now that we haven't seen. Anyway, so like this could be like things are about to get like really interesting. So yeah, so Elbafar is is started, anyone who's read the manga knows how crazy the Elbaf art gets. Like it gets insane. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Piece, chapter 1179. So in this chapter, the five elders are talking with Emu. So you have Marcus Mars, Topman Workery, Ethan Baron V Industrio, Shepherd Jupiter. They're talking. They're trying to tell Emu don't go to Elbaf. They don't go to the lower world. And then Garling comes in. Saying asking if they think that the Mary Joa will stay safe forever. And, Garland says, with Shamrock coming back, situation seems to calm down, but that he says, basically as he says, the lower world's plan to starve the celestial dragons out is still going on. So the Revolutionary Army's plan is still going on. So it's the Revolutionary Army. Now, why Mary Jo is said to be burning, I don't know. We're not. I don't know. If there was like the celestial dragons, or we're just trying to kill each other. Like if it was basically turning to like what the phrase were supposed to be turning into in A Song of Ice and Fire, if George R. R. Martin would finish his books. Um. So and Garland says, dignity and power will not fill our stomachs. And he says, what can we do with our own? And, Garland says, they need military might to keep the rest of the world under control. Then there's the former Navy headquarters. So it looks like something's going on at Marineford. Then Garland's called by York, who's inside the power plant, the labo phase in Mary Joa. York is complaining that there's no food, and Garland says that Mary Jo is under food shortage. The thing that could break the siege is the Mother Flame, and he says, "What will a celestial dragon produce the energy for them?" York says, she's hungry. It wasn't part of the deal. Garland says, that the original Vegapunk was rebellious was rebellious against them, and he says this is you know York should consider this like a way for her to take responsibility. Garland, basically Garland hangs up, then talks to the other elders, saying it's been one disaster and it started after Nika arrived. Basically, the return of Joy Boy with Luffy, awakened his Gear 5 during the fight against Kaido. Garland's wondering if it was a coincidence or if it was fate. And you have a Jupiter says that Emu mustn't leave leave Pangea Castle, and he says those send admirals, you know, to Elbaf, and Nostro says that with everything going on, there's too much going on to send admirals there. And Workery suggested maybe the elders will go to Elbaf, you know, and Emu says that tells Worker that it's no longer coincidence. He says arrogance, sloth, detachment, pride casteth all these things away. And Emu says that everything's preordained, and so he remembers like stuff regarding like Zebek, Roger, Shirahoshi, Shanks, Herald, Loki, Whitebeard, Luffy, and Teach. Cobra, and then you see like just a flash of him like cutting up the wanted posters of Luffy and Blackbeard saying, "Joy Boy Davy Jones, still you continue to torment Mew." And Emu says, he desires Vivi. And Emu said that it all began long before this, and so you see Emu staying in a magic circle. And Emu tells the elders that he leaves the Mary Joa to them. And then what I was saying, in the lower world you are, and Garland says we don't have a right to stop Emu. And basically they're all you have Mars is like, but He's like, but Warcry's like, if Emu leaves the castle, and Destro says, we all know, and Jupiter's like, basically, if it's by Emu's design, none of us can prevent it. So basically, they're like, we can't stop him if you want it. We can't stop him. And so then you have what's going on. So Gerd finds Somers' remains, and they're trying to figure out what to do with him. And then they see Somers' steel heart, and Zoro says, if we destroy this, Somers won't be able to turn back to normal. And Somers is concerned. Basically, his reaction hints at, Zoro was exactly right. Now, where he's like, where it's gonna be like, well, we just cut it. I mean, because that's Zoro's default plan for a lot of stuff. So you have Usopp and Brook are still recovering, and then you have Jinbei's looking for Chopper. You have um you have Killingham saying that he's gonna remember Sanji's name for revenge, and he asks Sanji to say his name, and Sanji says he forgets. So that bit is funny. So then you have basically I guess the school looks frozen because Loki sapped the heat out of it, and so Loki, Ragnar, and Luffy were trying to find food, but all the food's frozen, so it doesn't really taste good. Luffy says he gotta give some food to Usopp and Brook. Yeah, surprised that he's willing to share food. And Loki says can't share food till Luffy gets back to normal. Luffy asked if Gunko's dead, but Loki says no, it was a flash freeze, so that one knows that Gunko's not dead, but only Ragnar can melt the ice. And so Nami sees like, and basically Nami sees something, some black cloud of smoke wire going towards the castle. Then all the giants see it, and you see this giant magic circle, like above, the castle. Like everyone sees it, the Straw Hats see it, and like you see all these houses come into life, doing like some evil laugh, whatever. Probably some, and these trees come to life. They look very demonic. Like it's probably some like evil song, whatever. And they're all wondering what's going on. And you see some hockey coming out of it. Zoro recognizes it as Conqueror's hockey, and Luffy and Loki sense it since it was the same hockey that they sensed before. And so you see in Aura's castle in the throne room, you see emus, in the center of the magic circle there. There's some blood on the ground. Basically, Emu seems weaker. And then, yeah. And then you see like they want to see someone at on the top of the castle. Killingham and Somers are shocked to see Emu there. They're like, he's here in person. And then you see someone sees him like Emu on top of the castle, and it says so like and gives like his full like descriptions. Creator of the world government, one of the first 20, power the devil's fruit, king of the world, Saint Nerona Emu. And you see some blood coming down Emu's mouth. And so his appearance, like you see some horns that they're like curved, and you see like this like this black cloud surrounding him, like with some with like the eyes thing, like kind of looks similar to how his eyes look. So obviously he's supposed to have like a demonic appearance. So there's you know, and there's been comparisons to like him, like some to Lunarians, like possibly like his powers connected to the Lunarians. So one of the interesting things with this is that when it comes to his power, it doesn't say devil fruit. It says the devil's fruit. So that leads to a question of what does it mean? Like, is it mean like just it's the first devil fruit, or like what is are the devil fruits god fruits, and that he just has the devil fruit? Like, what is it? Because obviously something there, it's definitely a devil fruit power, but is there something like there's something with it? Like, was it like there's a fruit made up based off the devil's power, and basically all subsequent fruits were just called devil fruits in recognition of that? Like, who knows? Like Emu, like basically we seen his appearance now, and this was like, of course, spoiled like days ago. Like, and it was a big freaking deal if Emu's appearance is being shown. Like that was the big spoiler. Was like that was a big spoiler. Like Emu's appearance is being shown, and there was like, and people seeing the description of his appearance, like, oh frick, like what happened? And I will say when this gets animated, dude, it's gonna be freaking insane. Like basically like the whole, like if they still do like one chapter per episode, it'll basically be a whole episode of emu aura farming, and I'm okay with that. Like, dude, like it's insane. Like emu's full appearance is shown now. We don't know when whenever the next chapter is. Chapter 1180. You know, right now, to my knowledge, it's supposed to be the 19th of April. Hopefully, it doesn't get delayed more than that. But yeah, dude, like that is gonna be this is gonna be an insane chapter. Like this was insane. Like this was a very good chapter. Like, definitely one of the most hyped chapters in a while because like it's Emu's full appearance. Like one of the biggest spoilers in this series. Honestly, the biggest spoiler is like, what the One Piece actually is, but Emu's full appearance is definitely up there in like biggest spoilers. So like this is a big freaking deal. So yeah, I thought it was a really good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kagurabachi Chapter 117. So in this chapter, so there's a brief explanation of the prophecy gift that the Soga clan has. Basically, do like the prophecies involve like very dangerous situations. It can predict like when and where an event will take place, but not how what not the casualties and all that. Um, and then but it could allow people to alter the outcome of the event. And you have so and then you have like discuss one guy who's like basically was missing two legs, saying that when he fought the you know when he was at Hiroshima, dealing with the people from the Shokoku, he noticed like when he saw them, he noticed that they were Japanese, like of Japanese descent. And then basically and then there's like some explanation that basically more than 1,000 years ago there was a clan of sorcerers called the Mikaboshi that were defeated by the Soga clan, and like basically the Mikaboshi were driven into Chiba and then wiped out. At least that's the official story. And like but now it's now possibly that they survived and their descendants live in Shokoku, and that apparently they could control insects. So I guess kind of like uh like kind of like the Aberrane clan in Naruto. So it sounds like. And yeah, so and then basically, and then obviously there's concern with the dot inseki, with it being on Shokoku, and basically with apparently the vein of dot inseki and Irishima is around 80 kilos, but like I guess the total amount of Shokoku could be like would be in like probably at least 1,000 kilos, so very valuable. And basically, you know, and so basically, the whole Shokagus is a civilization based around Dot and Seki. So then, you had the Japanese delegation arrives at on Irishima for the meeting with the people from Shokoku, and then the letter from Shokoku, I guess, confirms that they're the they're the Mitsuboshi, and then basically, now it's like, look, we just gotta talk things out, or else there's war. And then, yeah, and so and basically, Mikaboshi attacks the ships, and you see a bunch of the ships destroyed. Basically, the Mikaboshi were there. They didn't care to talk. They just wanted to fight. Now the demand now Shokoku like gave some demands that Japan must hand over Irishima, Chiba, Kanagawa, and Tokyo, which are believed to potentially yield Dot and Seki in the coming millennia. And basically, the Mikaboshi say that if Japan doesn't comply, they'll use force. And then you see four sorcerers that were aboard the Haruma appear: Hiroto Soga, Togo Shiba, Yoshinojo Soga, and Suji Mashiro. Basically, they were sent there for the mission, and Shiba says for the Wakaboshi to go home. So then looks like things are so basically the talks ended quick because of the strike by Shokaku. So the Battle of Irishima has begun. And it looks like the next chapter will show that battle. But yeah, I thought this was a very good chapter. Like, dude, like it explains some of the lore with them. So it'll be interesting what happens next chapter, how it's dealt. So yeah, I thought it was a really good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, chapter 87. So in this chapter, you have so you see a little flashback of Bobo giving power to some of the other demons under him, and then you have so basically it's revealed that he has hidden stores of demonic power. It's based on like I guess it's based off his mother's ability, so he's able to like recover very quickly if he has stores of demonic power somewhere, and he's able to like you gain that power with interest from those he stores the power in. So yeah, yeah, in the whole store, it allows him to increase his power level, and yeah, and Bobo thinking that Kyoshi's figured out his ability, he then explains exactly what his ability is with illustrations. And then once he sees like Kyoshi's reaction, Bobo's like, "Wait, did he not figure it out? Did he just he's like crafty? I just explain it." And yeah, so dude, it's so funny the fact that Bobo's a fan of his. It's so funny. Yeah. Then he explains that it's called the Depths of 10 Demons. and he has like 1,000 top level demons like indebted to him, so he's able to. So basically, like he has to be killed like 100 times in order to like you know basically has to be killed like 100 times in order to get to be actually killed for good. And then basically Kiyoshi says, he was holding back because he was like Hell's above Sun, but now he's not gonna hold. Basically, can fight for real. And Bubba's thinking that that's number 3 on the list of awesome lines I've always wanted to say. And yeah, so and then he then does an attack like his Lutz Gladius attack, which is the attack that broke a Raw sword. And then basically like he does an attack on Hell's like really slashes him. Don't know how much damage he was actually able to do. We'll figure out next chapter, but it definitely hurt it definitely hurt Bobo. So yeah, I thought this was a good chapter. Interesting way to see how Bobo's powers work. Be interesting how it goes. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch, chapter 77. So in this chapter, you see two people, shopping around. Looks like it's like a festival or something. So yeah, and then basically, and like, so these two guys are like just walking around and like apparently there's something about Discaris going on a rampage. But then you see Discaris, hang around with like the rest, like basically everyone like Gokuraku, Kumugi, and Ichi. Basically, not really cause a rampage. So there's like a question of what's actually going on. So and basically the whole team was like told to leave the building because there's some important guests coming. And Descartes was kind of pissed about that. And then Descartes says he's gonna buy a bunch of like expensive stuff under the and I guess with the association's money, just buy a bunch of baby gifts for Minerva, and but her goal is just really just piss off the association for saying that, which what they said. And then yeah, so then Descartes hears something about Descartes is shoplifting, not paying for meal, and you have the other three. They're like, wait, when did you do that? Descartes says, wait, I'm hit. He's like, isn't it always me? I was with you the whole time. And there others they're talking maybe it's something with cloning. And Discord's like, wait, do you think I'm paying enough to die and dash? And they're all looking at her, and like Discord's like, pissed is like, yeah, we do think that. So Discard is looking around trying to find where it does it, and some fat chick who's just impersonating her, and then basically, Discard gets there. And some people are like, that's Discard. Is like, who would thought she'd be that rude and arrogant? Then like this girl starts saying she ain't is like she's like how's this perceived like me? And then she says there's a bunch of words that are censored. Now I guess they're not human words. I guess they're like fantasy cuss words. Communities like your words use human words. And Discord says she's gonna punch her and then like sock like she's gonna sock her right in the probably in the face or butt whoever's was. Then you see two people arrive and like they hear that Descaris is going on a rampage. Like, oh, it's just a fake. Yeah. And the other person, the real Descaris went on a rampage. The whole block would have already been blown sky high. And and he says, she never died. That if she was actually one of people, she would con someone to pay for her. And Discars is like kind of annoyed by that part. And the guy calls I guess the imposter a third rate knockoff. And the imposter tries to do some attack on the person, but and so pulls out a sword and just deals with it very quickly. And so and then yeah, so yeah, so basically you have then it's revealed these two guys, their names are Boxster and Higurashi. They're the magic keepers. And I guess they're both dudes. So Boxer is a 9 section whip. Higarashi's twin blades. So yeah, so it's interesting characters. Don't know who they are. Obviously, they're not witches because Ichi's the only male witch. So I guess there's some non-magic user group that I guess monitors magic. That seems what it is. So yeah, that interesting introduction. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. The Maids Next Door, chapter 21 in full series. So in this chapter, so Osagawa, Yobiko, and Mini Megas continue to do a bunch of various tasks around, I guess, the area. They get some rewards from people, and basically it's revealed that, and base turns out it's been a month since the fight against Ine, and basically after Ine was defeated, he and his people left and retreated, and so yeah, so basically the people of Doroi, like the mages of Doroi, basically I guess they retreated. Now they're not fully defeated. And apparently the task force, they're cleaning up their HQ and all that. And so yeah, so basically Osagawa says, in case any like Jiroi or other mages return, they gotta keep doing like you know, I guess keep an eye on things. So yeah. And that's really it. So the whole chapter seems like something it would be the end of an arc, not necessarily the end of a series. Like if you were gonna end like a season of television, seems like this would be like the end of the anime season, not much the end of the series. Like it just like so yeah, the series got canceled. Like it seems like it ends an arc, but not this. Like I would want an ending to be more conclusive. Now it's not like a completely rushed ending, like oh, they're the flame. Gosh, that was such a bad chapter, final chapter. But this chapter that was decent. Yeah, it kind of had the same issue that Gone Wrong Egg did, where it seems like a fight ended, but not the actual threat. But it's like it seemed more like the end of an arc than the end of a series. But sometimes it happens. Series get canceled. That's just what happens. But overall, that was a decent chapter. Don't think it works as a ending chapter. As far as the series goes, it's a decent series. Like I think it could have been a series that could have gone longer, but however they determine how Shonen Jump determines when to cancel stuff, like what like sales or whatever. Guess it didn't meet that. That stuff happens. Oedo Fire Slayer, The Legend of Phoenix, episode 12 and full series. So in this episode, so the Boro Tobigumi, like they were able to deal with the Foxfires. Like so you have, Gingo, Shinosuke and all like trying to stop all the Foxfires. And like they're able to stop them, defeat the whole group that's doing them. They do their job, then they basically are recognized as good firefighters, and that's really like how the episode ends. Like yeah, so It's mostly like, yeah, just deal with these last two fires, and the episode's done. That's essentially how it works. But yeah, overall, that was a decent episode. Like, not much really to it. As far as the overall show, it's a decent show. It's like it's not like some really, I guess, deep show. It's more like it's just a simple like you know firefighters in Edo period fighting a fire and deal with the arson. Like that's it. So yeah, overall that was a decent show. I don't. It's not gonna get a season two. It won't. But if it did, I would consider watching a second season. Under Doctor Chapter 11. So in this chapter, you have you have Haiji fighting you know, Maxwell, and then basically, so Chiwa points her gun at Maxwell. Haiji tells Chiwa to get something, we don't know what. So then, basically Haiji can't really attack Maxwell's pressure points, like his vital points, due to how his body works. Like it's almost like his skin is like muscles are like Kevlar, or whatever. And yeah, so fights going on. So then you see a flashback, I guess, where they met earlier. So I guess Maxwell had asked Haiji to look at his body, see if he could die, and like yeah, and then Haiji says he wishes Maxwell wouldn't use his body to hurt people. And yeah, so and then and basically Haiji says he'll have to if file points take over, he's got to attack the surface. So he does an attack called 1 inch Shote, and like it stops his breathing for a little bit. And then like Maxwell like slams Haiji into the wall, well through the wall. And then Yua comes back, brings out a mirror. Haiji looks at a mirror and then like presses his own, vital points for what reason. Not it's not sure why. That will be next chapter. That probably will explain it. I don't know if it's like basically almost like steroids without using steroids is what he's gonna basically gonna do. If he's gonna use vital points to like increase his strength or whatever, which is probably what it is. Which is interesting. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, overall, that was a decent chapter. Maxwell seems to be a cool villain. Um, you know, his fight with Haiji, was cool. So we'll see what the next stage of that fight is. So yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kinato's Magic, Chapter 10. So in this chapter, so you have this gathering of all different, I guess, like leaders of different adventurers guilds and the Magic Research Society. Basically, so this Adventure Association, the Magic Research Society, they like maintain, I guess, peace in the kingdom. And so like, people like there's some people, I guess, they have some personalities that interrupt a lot. So it's kind of like you have the person holding the mean, keep trying to tell everyone what they're there for. But and once she finally gets a word in, apparently there have been magic users disappearing in the kingdom, and several of them are confirmed dead. And that basically they got to figure out who's behind the incident. One person says maybe they just kill whoever's suspicious, and like GN's like, can I switch seats? I'm scared of this guy. And then basically the one person says that basically you know two groups of jobs to eliminate anyone who's a threat to the kingdom, and that finding whoever's dealing you know abducting magic users is a top priority. So then back in the village, all the adventurers are thanked But then apparently Sid was able to escape and like he runs away, but comes across someone. I guess they work for someone. They don't say who. And like some lady who's there, like said, seeing all the Seraph Wings, Magic Gadget Engineer, and the Iron Fanes, seeing a bunch of sacrificial lambs. Sid tells like the lady to get out of the like basically says who said you can wander around here. The lady like kisses Sid and Sid like is knocked out basically. Guess she had like sucked the life out of him or sucked out his magic. And like and the lady says, she hopes that, all the wizards mages there will come along as offerings. So then like her allies like start attacking and basically Ibis is told to evacuate everyone. And you see everyone fight this group of villains. And you see Kinato tries to uses say take magic on the ball to attack, but it's not do damage, so he's attacked. And then once he sees all the damage being done, it says he can't protect anyone. So then he uses his Seitai magic on himself, which is it's a little difficult to control. And then he's able to do a big punch at the guy. And there's one guy wearing like a skull mask, whatever. And you see how he looks like his hands like bloody or something. So Olive is like basically there is something with now. So the blood could be just from like his injuries earlier, but it looks like whatever happens with his Seitai when he uses it on himself, he can't like it's harder to control. That's probably gonna be a plot point. Based on this, it's gonna be a plot point of him having to learn how to control when he uses Seitai magic on himself, which should be interesting. But yeah, I thought this was a good chapter. So we got a group of villains introduced. I don't know if this is gonna be a short series or like or if they're just gonna keep it going, try to see what this group is. Like this is probably a series that could either be very short or very long. Who knows? Like I feel like it could be an interesting series. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Alien Headbutt, Chapter 9. So in this one, you see Shirokiba still fighting that alien. The alien flies up the air, but Shirokiba grabs it, is able to hook it by a chain. He tries to fly, but like, so it's a mid-air fight. You know, Shirokiba gets damaged really badly, but he's like, and he hears like the alien speak. I guess ask him to run away or help her. So then, he's able to kill that alien and rip out the parasite, whatever. And then you see another group of aliens talking about it. I guess the alien who Shuriken beat was named Zoldra. And everyone's like, "What? There's no way a human could have beaten him." And then yeah, some we were talking about that maybe they should look at it. One guy is saying they should look at this Earthling. That the guy could be a threat. So it looks like we got our. There was four. They look very different. It looks like you have four big bads appearing right there. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Got some new villains introduced. Maybe Tatsumi's able to be saved. Who knows? But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Rooster Fighter, episode 4. So this episode, Keiji and Elizabeth try to save Pyoko, and basically a cat was trying to take Pyoko to feed it to her kittens. Basically, the cat's a domesticated cat, but the owner's like basically he's been zombified by some demons. So and then some kids come along. Basically, I guess their parents were all like zombified, and one of them say like his father was is the demon. And basically Keiji like the Lord of Rut person that appears. So basically, it's like he has to like, or he has to like basically get laid in order to like deal with the Lord of Rut. So he tries to bang Elizabeth Like, but the older kids cover the little kids' faces, like eyes, knowing what the Casey's trying to do. But Liz was like, no. Then she says, because Casey only wants to deal with the demon that killed his sister or controlled his sister, and like Elizabeth's like, if you help deal with this demon, uh, basically she promises to screw him. So KG gets all in trying to find a deal with the demon. So basically, all the zombies are digging holes. It's revealed that Say's father was a gambling addict, had a bunch of depth from it, and then he found something in the ground. He kept digging around, and basically, when he got turned to a demon, when he became a demon, like basically he forced everyone else to dig. So then KG fights the demon. He like and basically some gold used to draw the demon in. Elizabeth is able to electrocute it. KG's able to knock it out, and so Say's father's freed of the demon. And then later, Elizabeth refuses to screw KG, so KG gets mad, to try to do this as a screaming attack on the father because he's like I went after a demon I didn't care about and got nothing out of it. He's like it's your fault. So he starts screaming, and Say gets and Say's father is like, hey, it's my fault. Just kill me. Then and Elizabeth like basically tries to talk KG down. You know, KG agrees with saying if Say's father it doesn't like start acting right after all this that he is truly trash. So then, yeah, so I thought it was a funny episode, dude. The fact that went after a demon just to get laid, it's so funny. Like I was like, what the heck is up with this chicken? Now the lore right goes away when Elizabeth like basically kicks KG like and like basically knocks him out, like knocks the Lord of Rut like out. Although it's like basically the cock got hit in the cock in his cock. It feels something like that. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Freaking, it was so freaking funny. So yeah, I like this one. Looking forward to the next one. Digimon Beat Break episode 25. So in this episode, Glowing Dawn's taking a cruise ship. Using the bounty money they got from Arzlon. So yeah. So while it's going, you have yeah. So there's like some performers called called Starman. Basically, it's revealed to be a guy named Honda and a Digimon named Starbon. And then while this is going, and you have some evil Digimon named Petermon. Trying to use his like attack called Midnight Fantasia to to brainwash the passengers to drain the repulse. So kind of like Peter Piper, basically like and so Tomura and Reina are brainwashed. Makoto and Chirapmon they're not brainwashed. And they're able to convince Honda and Starmon to show some courage and be like they're on stage like personas. So Honda's courage allows his E-Pulse to get more powerful, which allows Starmon to power up and defeat Petermon and turn him back into use a mirror squall attack to turn him back into like a Peepimon. Now Glowing Dawn, even though they want to fight, they lose all the bounty they got from dealing with Arzlon to pay for repairs for the cruise ship. And Honda and Starmon uh, get the bounty for defeating Petermon and his group of pirates. So Glowing Dawn's freaking broke. So that bit was freaking funny. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Obviously, it's meant to be like a little interlude section before I guess the next big arc is going on. So yeah, that was a very good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Duck Dynasty: The Revival, Season 2, Episode 5. So in this episode, So Willie and Jace try to take some grandkids frog hunting to have the grandkids be more redneck like. So and that's kind of funny because you have Jace with his experience frog hunting. So like and then you have Sadie, Christian, Bella, Jacob, and Cy try to learn beekeeping from Jep and Jessica. And we some shenanigans go on there, and Rebecca's trying to prepare for some fashion shows she's I guess helping run or whatever. And you have later Willie tries to do like a hot one like like the show the hot ones like with hot sauce, and basically having different members of the family eat frog legs with the hot sauce on it in order and answer some questions. It leads to some pretty funny answers. It's very funny. Usually it's with chicken wings, but this one's with frog legs. I mean, I've had frog legs before. I would say I probably would really enjoy having frog legs with the hot sauce. That would probably be pretty good. Like honestly, because frog legs are pretty good. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Like, it is nice to have Jace more involved in the show now. Because season one, I think he may have been in one episode in for a cameo outside the flashbacks. But with Jace being more involved in this, dude, it's like getting really like it's like back to like old school. Like Sai's more involved. Jace is more involved. You got you know Jep back in. So yeah, it's very interesting seeing every like more is like the whole family's involved, which I liked. I thought it was a very good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Kusunoki's Guard the Gods, episode one. So in this episode, this is a new animated start. So guy Miyato Kusunoki moves to some old house. Basically, was haunted by spirits, but like he basically writes something and he unwillingly exorcises the house. So then some this mountain god named Yamagami, who appears like a white wolf like creature, like moves in, basically becomes like a friend of Miyato. And like basically Miyato's I guess the only one who can see them. So it's kind of funny, it's kind of interesting thing. It looks like it's a cool slice of life like show. The guy's an exorcist, where he has powers but doesn't really understand too much. So it's so funny. Like we're just gonna be interesting how his overpoweringness really starts affecting like his interactions with different, I guess, spirits, or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting episode, seeing like how some other spirits are being introduced. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. Looking forward to the next one. Roku's House of Oddities, Chapter One. So this is a new manga that Suisha started. So in this one, you have the main character is Siroki Akari. So basically he's like a first year in high school. He finds this airware like site of the first night of Moonlit Tales of Kokubunji, the Vampire King, and basically some area around the old manor. And so he goes to basically he goes to these five locations that they say if you break do these rituals over 5 days, you can break the seals of free five curses. Basically, he's trying to debunk these curses. No one else from this. It was like I guess a bet with the it was like something like a bet with the cult investigation club between them and the science club. He's with the science club, so no one else was the science club showed up. So basically, he does things by himself, and he bought all the stuff they needed to do the rituals. So he just goes around does all five, and And then so then all five spirits like he goes to bed, and so he thinks it's debunked, but then all five spirits tell him to wake up. So then they explain everything. They're there basically. He's like, wait, why am I not cursed to death? He's like, well, basically says they couldn't decide who to kill him. So the curses you have the second curse was Sachiko, fifth curse Ultra, fourth curse Gavaldon, the third curse Kabanegi, well Kabanegi were. First curse was Johan. So you have all of them like basically they're telling they're different. You see other different appearances, like it was like they have different abilities, whatever. And they explain, since what even though the methods with the rituals are those definitely not the traditional way they sufficed. But since he did it all, he was able. That's how he's avoiding being killed because they can't figure out who actually gets to kill him. So now the only way he could do is like maybe undo the curses. Where so there's a whole bit where like there is a funny bit where like one of the curses so you have like so Sachiko is looking at Akari's like a manga collection. She's one Sojo one. He's trying to hide. And then like she gives like a very interesting description of Dragon Ball. Because like about a guy barely naked fighting wrestling with a bunch of muscular dudes. That's how she describes Dragon Ball, which is so funny. And you have Akari like talking about like how one was like a dog and there's issues about room, like where's everyone gonna sleep and all that. So basically all spirits stay in the house until they figure out how to I guess you know figure out how to lift the curses. So now I guess the goal is to figure out what caused each curse to happen, research all of them, find their hate, their grudges, hatred, regrets, um, and then figure out how to lift the curses. And then Akari's looking at the dog like, hey, wait, how am I gonna ask a dog about grudges and regrets? And so looks like yeah, so definitely interesting. So it's like it's gonna be him investigating like the different curses were. So that should be interesting. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting chapter. Like everyone introduced the five spirits. So it's like, yeah, he's dead because he did them all simultaneously. He's not dead. Like he'll survive that. Like that's funny. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Doria, Wand and Swords, Season 1 recap. So with Season 2 airing next week, there is a Season 1 recap that premiered on Crunchyroll. Now, so yeah. So in this recap, basically just show some of the fights, Will's motives and all that. Briefly goes over some stuff with all different like his allies and all that. And yeah, it does well at recapping everything. Like as far, I mean, my opinion, at least the first season, is that it was like mid. But the last few episodes did intrigue me. Like the very early episodes, like special ones where it's very much a lot more emphasis put on like stuff with Elfie. I'm like, I don't care about Elfie. Like I kind of was annoyed. Like personally, I was annoyed by the whole like he's going there to basically be his goal is to like be with a girl. Like I kind of find more like intriguing the idea more like let's say Asta and Mash. So Mash Burndead, he wanted to be the divine visioner in order to like so his adoptive father could live in peace. You know, basically because he's like doesn't have magic because Mash doesn't have magic. In case of Asha, he wanted to be the Wizard King to show that even someone without magic could be the Wizard King. And like of course, Will Serfor is like he's going there for a girl. Like, yeah, I don't care. I was like that. That's not as like intriguing of a reasoning. Like if his was like he wanted to prove that a guy with magic could basically be like at that top position, that would be awesome. That'd be a better reason, like better like motivation. Like it's like, of course, Will he has Whis, so he's not fully like can't use magic. He just has to absorb other people's magic into his sword. So a different type of it's not for like he has zero power whatsoever, and so that's gonna be interesting how that affects like I'm interested in how the Wii stuff develops. Like that's what I'm interested in. Like I go more into like how the magic develops. Like not like his I'm not interested in basically just being like Will Serford's love life. Like I don't care about that. Hopefully this does like because the last few episodes were intriguing. There was some intrigue with them, but and if this builds on that intrigue, this could be a decent actually a good series. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, as a recap, it was whatever. I mean, it was okay. I'll watch season two. Well, and that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.